everybody, it's Joy with joyslife.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own monogram pumpkin. All I did was buy a little fake pumpkin from Michael's or whatever your favorite craft store is, cut a little place in the back to put in a tea light candle. So those are just those battery operated candles. Mine turns on like that. See, ta-da, it's all lit up. You can find others that you twist to turn on, but I'm sure you're familiar with battery operated tea light candles. So those are very helpful. Let me move them out of the way. Now, I made this one years ago using the Cricut cartridge mini monograms. Turned out really cute. I really have been using it for years. As a matter of fact, if you look right here, this is the address here for you to go to my website and see this project done when I did it. It was several years ago. So what I did, as you can see, is to make a hilarious multi-attempt at making a back. Measure twice, cut once. Not cut 10 times, measure maybe. Okay, so that's what I did here. But if you happen to do like I did when you're trying to make the back, just hot glue it together, okay, because that worked out great. And the reason you cut this is just so you can put your tea light candle in there, so you will have a nice little light going on. Okay, so now I need to make a new one for my daughter. She's in college, and I'm going to make one for her and her dorm room friend. So we're going to use the Songbird Cricut cartridge today, so I can make, oops, sorry about that, so I can make my letter. I like this. Like I said, I used many monograms in the last one, but I want to switch it up a little. So I'm going to use the S, and I think I'm going to thin out this little piece here too, because what you don't want is a big wide area, or not a big wide area, but what you don't want is an area where, see how tight those two little pieces are between that S? You don't want to accidentally nick that and have a hole, because if you make a little extra space right there, well, anyway, you'll see. Like I almost had this situation with the D. If I had not been careful here, this D would have just been a big hole instead of all that cute little stuff. All right, so we're going to be real careful with that. The other letter I'm going to make is an L, JKL. With the L, similar situation, okay? You have to think about what it will look like once it's cut out. I mean, any letter can look really pretty, but it's the negative space you have to worry about, or you'll end up with a big hole. What I'm going to do with this L, for example, is if I cut all that out, you see this little space right here? That'll make a big hole in it. That'll just be a blank. So I don't want to do that. Looks like there's a little cut right out of the L that's in this birdhouse at the top. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a little cut so it'll stay in my pumpkin. Anyway, enough about that. On hand, I have some vinyl. Doesn't matter what color you're using. I'm just using this as a base. I'm going to stick it on my pumpkin I'm going to cut out my vinyl letter and stick it to my pumpkin and then cut around it. You don't have to have vinyl though. Let's put that away. Let me show you what else you can do. Paper. Just use paper and cut your letter out. And I can't get one sheet. You know what paper is. But anyway, okay. So what I'm going to do is, with another one, I'm going to try cutting either the L or the S out using just the paper and a spray adhesive. This one's by Elmer's, and it allows for repositioning, but it dries permanent, okay? This one, stick and spray, it's really good. I use this sometimes for my mats. This is my Cricut Expression 2 back here. Sometimes your mats get non-sticky. So if you want to restick them, I use this. Always use a repositionable, because if not, your mats will be stuck to your paper, or vice versa, forever. So I use that for stuff like that. In this case, I kind of want to use this permanent one because I don't want my letter to move off of my pumpkin when I'm cutting it. It's a real pain if it gets out of line. You can also draw onto your pumpkin. Just cut out a template and then draw it on and then cut around it. So there's a lot of options. What I'm using to cut into my pumpkin is this. Let me zoom out a bit so you can see it. This tool is called a hot knife or a heat knife. Well, at least that's what I call it. It is awesome. It comes like this, and it has different little tips that you can put on the end. Now, you don't have to get this exact product. There are several of these little heat knife things. This one says it's good for paper, parchment, cardboard, leather, fabric, wax, foam, rubber, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it can do lots of stuff. I went and looked through my kit. This is the one that I used on my pumpkin before. I can tell that because it still has got some pumpkin juice on it. Okay, some old foam stuck to it. And if you want to keep your your tips all nice for this gun, or this, I'm sorry, it's not a glue gun. It is a little heat tool, heat knife. If you want to keep these tips nice, I'm sure there's some way to clean them. I wouldn't know what it is. I suggest not using it if you want to keep them clean, because mine's pretty dirty. I'm just being silly about that. Of course, use it, but they do get yuckified. All right, and even this one is black. I mean, it used to be this color, but if that doesn't bother you, then just craft on. You know, it's okay. They're going to get dirty, is my point, or yucky, whatever. It still works just fine. Now, what happens is you plug it in, there's a little on-off switch, and it gets hot, okay? Pretty simple. And you're just going to use it while it's hot to do all the cutting into your foam pumpkin, all right? Just be real careful. Please keep this on something so it won't burn a hole into your table. Mine has a little stand that comes with it, so keep it on its little stand. Keep it away from tiny hands, okay? From our little friendly peeps who sometimes drop by. Now we're ready to cut out our L using the Cricut expression. What I'm going to do is hit the shift lock because I want a capital L. There we go. And now I'll hit the birdhouse function, and you'll see that it brought up that cute little birdhouse with a letter in it. So let's go to our mat, and there's the L. I believe I'm cutting this out at 3 or 3.5 inches. Let's check. 3 inches. Okay, so that I think is going to be a good fit for this pumpkin. Let's go ahead. I'll load my mat in the paper and get this all cut out. All right, we're all cut out. So here is the birdhouse with the letter L in it. Now I've removed the L, and there is, I'm backwards, there is the little piece I told you about. That will allow it to not have that weird little circle that would fall out if we cut it all out at the same time. Well, I decided to use my ATG gun, and I've glued this thing within an inch of its life. I mean, it's stuck to my finger right now. But the reason I decided to do that is because I'm using that heat glue gun, that heat knife, and it kind of freaked me out when I read all the warnings on the glue thing about, you know, the aerosol being extremely flammable. And I assume that that's when it's in its aerosol form, but, you know, I just didn't want to deal with that. It kind of freaked me out, so I didn't want to start a fire. All right, so now I'm just going to take a good look at it and try to get it in the right position. Nice thing about using this tape too is that you can easily reposition it, but I'm going to cut just right around it after I get it stuck on. It would be just the same if you use vinyl, so consider using that. I love using vinyl. I'm just not going to use it today because not everybody has vinyl on hand, but most people have paper. So let's move on. I'll start getting that positioned and then we'll begin cutting. Okay, I've got my L positioned just like I wanted. I think that that looks pretty good. It's not too close to the top and it's not too close to the bottom. Lined it up as best I could. All right, this is how it works. You just push in, and as it gets hotter, you're able to go through the pumpkin a little bit better. But let me just show you. Can you tell that it did something? Here, let me go over here and I'll show you. All right, I'm barely pushing, and it's just going in. See how I'm able to get the blade in there? So basically, you're just going to keep going all the way around until you finish cutting out your whole letter. And I'm going to leave a gap there, of course, where I said I would. And after you finish that, you take it out and you have your letter. So I'll do that and then get back with you. Okay, I'm moving along. I suggest that if you're going to do a letter like an L, or I guess basically any letter, you take it out in little pieces. So I cut like a little slice right there just so I could remove that piece. And now I'm gonna do this one. Be very careful, because if you break any of the pieces off, your pumpkin is messed up. Doesn't that look weird inside? All right, so now I just need to get out this last little piece, and I may not have gone all the way through, so I need to kind of heat up those spots again. And just make sure that the knife went through. You can see now I'm able to just kind of curve through it because the knife is so hot. And if you have any weird looking little edges, don't worry about it. You can go back and trim those off. I'm going to keep my finger out of the way. Don't worry, I'm just giving it some extra stability by kind of holding that. My finger is not in the way, okay? So don't get yours in the way. Oops. You know what? I think I may actually cut between these two. That one little edge doesn't want to come out, so. But this part of the project is really important, so I want to make sure I don't break this part of the pumpkin. So I'm pushing down just to bring my knife all the way through the pumpkin. And I'm being much more careful than I would with a larger part. Oh, there we go with that piece. Ta-da! See? It's really like carving a real pumpkin, except it's not quite as messy, or at least the mess is different. And you can't toast what's inside. Or you shouldn't anyway. Don't eat it. These make the worst pies in the world. Alright, well, I need to do some close-up work. So I will get back to you after I have more of the L done. Alright, I got that little piece out. I wanted to show you something else. If you angle your knife up a little bit, you can go in and get some of those areas that seem kind of jagged a little bit cleaner. You see how I got up in there? So like if you look at it straight on, let me get this, oh, for heaven's sake. Anyway, if you look at it straight on, well, it's hard to show you right there, but you don't see a lot of that jaggedness like you do down here. But you may want to leave some white, or, you know, don't worry about it too much. It doesn't really matter. It's from a distance anyway. You're going to have it lit, but you do want it to look good during the day. So keep that in mind, and I will get back to my carving. Let's see. So again, angle it, and then just give it a little pressure, and that helps you kind of carve. See, it's not hard. Okay, all finished. There are the pumpkin guts, and I went ahead and cut a hole out of the back, and I did something I have not done before. I overcut and didn't have a piece to actually make it fit perfectly. Like last time I undercut and then had to glue it back together, but this time I cut too much. I don't know what's wrong with me. I had it right, and then I went back in and cut it, but you know what? We all make mistakes, and it's not the end of the world. But it doesn't fit perfectly. I mean, this goes in on the sides well. And that black gunk on there, that was on my pumpkin when I bought it. I don't know what that is, but I will try to get it off with some Goo Gone or something. But anyway, so I left that little bit, which kind of annoys me, but it's okay. Oh, well, let's put the candle in, duh. So it fits. You just slip it in there. Put on the little back. And let's brush our guts out of the way here a little bit, and there it is. Isn't that neat? Oh, I should turn off the light so we can check it out, but I don't think it's dark enough in here. Well, let's give it a try. Well, I think that pumpkin turned out pretty well. Now I just have to make one that has an S on it. I think I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon just to the top of the pumpkin, and that's pretty much it. I'm happy with the way that it turned out. And it's perfect for a dorm room or anywhere that can't take a regular candle and a real pumpkin. So I leave my D one up all year long, as a matter of fact. So I just love having these. So look at us. Cute. All right, you guys. I hope you have a great day. And thanks for coming to joyslife.com. Bye.